As you know, at least as many of you know, those of you who have been following us for any length of time, you know that I am geek enough to where I like to go back and read all the back issues of the Dragon magazine.
It's true.
In Dragon magazine 135, which came out in July 1988, I believe it was, they came up with something in their Bizarre of the Bizarre, and it's basically a bunch of magic arrows. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
That is what we're going to talk about today. And I'm very excited about this because as someone who has every character that fights hand to hand use a bow, this is very applicable to me. So I like a lot of these. I think they're fun and quirky and can be used in interesting ways if you get a hold of them.
Let's have a look.
Let's have a look. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
The first arrow.
However, before we move any further, we have a sponsor for this video.
Do we?
We do.
Yes, we do.
We have a sponsor. Our sponsor for the arrow review video thing we're doing.
Titled
right here.
Look below.
This video is sponsored by Retro DM Ray.
Retro DM Ray.
Retro DM Ray, longtime friend of ours, one of the earliest viewers of our channel.
One of the earliest subscribers we had.
He's a great guy. He runs his own channel, and we would like to direct you to his channel, especially those of you who do a lot of old school D&D or are interested in old school examination of D&D.
Yes, go check
examination of old school D&D.
Go check out what he has to offer.
Yes.
We will put the link to his channel in the description of the video. So
he talks a lot about old books, I think he does modules as well, but he has actually a lot of things that he does, and I want to say that he started maybe a little after we did or just before we did
sure.
But he's kind of been on the
you can go find out for yourself
thing about the same amount of time that we have.
But yes, very good guy.
Take a look. He's our sponsor for this week's video,
so thank you for
this month's video, or for this video. Anyway,
thank you for sponsoring Retro DM Ray.
Yes, thanks. He is a good friend of ours, and we appreciate his interest in being a sponsor. Let's get to the arrows.
The arrows.
We're not going to give you all of the arrows they have listed in, again, issue 135 of the Dragon, if you're interested. We're going to go to the ones that we think are the most interesting and give you some idea of how we might use them and whether or not we think they are too powerful. Because I think some of these are they would actually unbalance a game. They would make a game less balanced.
Indeed, and we have also discussed before how the economics of first and second edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons are very screwed up depending on which book you're reading.
Yes. Yes.
Some of these fall directly into that screwed up.
And we'll explain. We'll explain.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that.
Yeah. But first on the list, should we go back and forth reading these, or should I just start and then I read a couple?
We go back and forth.
So let's go back and forth.
Go ahead.
We're going to go back and forth.
Start us off.
The first one, and I actually really like this one. This was a lot of these were created by a man named Dan Snuffin.
Well done, Dan.
Yep, credit to you, Dan.
Good work.
And again, this is back to around 1988. They were probably developed maybe a few years earlier before they made it into Dragon Magazine. I don't know if Dan is out there. We'd love to hear from you, Dan.
Yeah.
Anyway, the first one we're going to look at is called the Arrow of Aggravation. Love this. This cursed arrow infuriates any being it hits, granting its victim, the person being shot, a bonus of +2 on 2-hit and damage rolls, as well as on saving throws, but causing the victim to lose 1 point of armor class. These effects last for 1 to 6 turns, during which time the target will do everything in its power to slay the archer. The arrow does no damage at all to its victim other than lowering that armor class. But love this.
I also love this.
I can easily see, in fact, I know I will be putting this into some treasure hoards. So you pick up what you believe is a +2 arrow, and it actually just makes that ogre really mad, and it comes after you and won't stop until you are dead.
But if you're thinking, you could use this to your advantage.
If you know what it is.
Yes. Because you might just want to fire somebody up, get them to run towards you really, really fast. There's a big pit or something like that.
Ah, good thinking.
You don't
Very
see.
nice.
So
nice,
even the bad things can be taken as good things, depending on how you want to use them.
I like it. Next one here. Arrow of Anti-Magic.
The Arrow of Anti-Magic. One of the two. This magical arrow has a +2 bonus to hit, but causes no damage if the target is struck. Instead, the arrow automatically negates all magic within a 10-foot radius of the target for 3 to 30 rounds.
Long time.
It's a very long time. If the arrow misses its target, the area of effect is centered on the first thing the arrow hits. All magical items in the area of effect, except for artifacts and relics, are rendered inert for the duration of the arrow's effect. All spells cast by, on, and around the target are dispelled, regardless of the caster's level. Illusions of all sorts are likewise nullified. Spellcasters are also unable to cast any spells for the duration of the effects of this arrow. Note that the arrow's effect causes the target and the area of effect around it to be rendered immune to magic. Therefore, fireballs, magic missiles, and the like will not cause any damage to the target, nor to anyone within 10 feet. Only one such arrow may be found at a time. XP value 60, GP value 360, created by Mark Andreessen. Anderson,
yes.
This one's okay.
But I have an issue with it. I can see actually having this available in your campaign.
It's very powerful.
It's extremely powerful. That's one heck of an arrow. And its gold piece value is 360 gold, and I think this is what we're getting at.
This would be more in the 10,000.
I think so, because you could completely disrupt the defenses, the magical defenses of some fortress or whatever you're trying to get into. Yeah. This is unbelievably powerful because it completely nullifies any kind of magical defenses or attacks or whatever. Yeah. It's just way too powerful for 360 gold pieces.
Yeah, you shoot it at a god, and that god can't do anything to you.
Yeah,
for 3 to 30
3
rounds?
to 30 rounds. And so, although I love the concept of this,
it should be really expensive.
It should be really, or you should have to really jump through hoops, go on a quest or whatever to get one of these made.
One.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's great arrow. Don't like the value that they've placed upon it.
Yeah.
Next one is the Arrow of Blinding. When this arrow hits a target, it explodes in a flash of light that blinds everyone within 60 feet of the point of impact for 2 to 12 turns unless a saving throw versus breath weapon is made. The archer must be outside the area of effect to avoid these same blinding effects. Experience point value 20, gold piece value 120, created by Dan Snuffin.
I like it.
I'm okay with this. I think that
it might be a little bit more expensive than that, but you're not.
I think so.
You're not really directly damaging anything.
Right.
You just see like a pack of orcs.
Yeah.
Launch that bad boy in there, and then go hit them.
And 2 to 12 turns. I think that you might even drop that down some. Maybe go down to, I don't know, 1 to 10 or something like that.
I think even that might be too much. It should just be a little,
just a flash. It gives you the
you're
bonus,
flash
gives you the
banging
advantage.
somebody, basically.
Right. Yeah. So it's okay. Oh, I do like this next one.
The Arrow of Bow Breaking. This arrow breaks any bow used to fire it.
Sorry, they don't mention that this one's a cursed arrow, but it is.
Yeah, unless the bow makes a successful saving throw versus crushing blow at -4. XP value 0, shockingly enough. GP value 100, created by Mark DeForest.
I like this one.
I do like this
one. Hands down.
I just think the imagery of it is really funny, because you get up, draw it back on your longbow, and your bow just snaps. And that's it.
Especially if it happens at that inopportune moment,
when
you
really need to get it in
you're ready
there.
to take out the leader of the bandit crew or whatever, and you pull your bang breaks. I just love
snaps
that.
Really
From
badly.
the DM side, this would be a lot of fun. Anyway, moving on from there. No, I like this one. These are interesting.
Yeah. I do like this one.
There are a couple that are related, that they do basically the same kind of thing, slightly different. We'll read them both. The first is the Arrow of Clairaudience. This arrow gives the archer the ability to hear sounds within range of the arrow's location. As with the Arrow of Clairvoyance, which we'll talk about in a second, this arrow is activated by saying the command word "listen" and shooting the arrow. The archer is then able to hear sounds from the arrow's location by covering his ears and concentrating. Sounds within a 15-foot radius around the arrow may be heard in this manner. This arrow can hear anything louder than regular breathing. The range of the clairaudience is 240 yards, and its duration, once the arrow is fired, is 6 turns. I like this.
I think that's very good.
120 gold pieces. This is not going to make or break anything. Well, it could. but it's not overly powerful.
Yeah.
I think it just gives you a one-up on what's happening before we go into this situation. What's happening there? Let's see what we can do.
And just double check.
So yeah, I like that. I'll just read this next one since it's basically the same thing. They also have an arrow of clairaudience, and again, they also have an arrow of clairvoyance. That's why he's here, to correct my. He also these are both done by Mark DeForest, and this is just the arrow of clairvoyance. Mm-hmm. Anyway, this is the exact same thing. This arrow gives its user the ability to, not the exact same thing, almost the exact same thing. This arrow gives its user the ability to see an area from the location of the arrow. This field of view is equal to the archer's normal field and is activated by sounding the command word vision and then firing the arrow. Normal restrictions for distance of vision apply with this magic arrow. In addition to normal vision, the arrow grants infravision and ultravision, both of which are limited to a 10-foot radius around the arrow's location. So again, shoot the arrow in through the doorway, in through the window,
into tower, wherever it is,
and you get to see what's going on inside.
I don't like this one quite as much. I think it's less interesting.
I think hearing is a better one.
Yeah, hearing's more exciting because you don't know exactly what's going on this way, and they're the same price, which I don't agree with. The hearing one I think should be cheaper than the seeing one,
right?
Because they're both at 120 gold pieces, but I think they should be significantly higher.
The clairvoyance
especially should be significantly higher than that. Yeah.
But I love this one as well. But I'm with you. I like the clairaudience much better.
Yeah, it's more fun, more of a spying adventure type thing instead of just seeing what's in there.
Yep, I agree. Okay, next one. This one I don't like having.
Wait. Does this continue?
It goes up to the next. Okay, you have to scroll back up.
Arrow of explosions. When knocked into a bow, this arrow explodes into a 6 hit dice fireball, as if cast by a 6th-level magic user.
I mistook this one for another one. They didn't mention this one as being cursed. Obviously it is. Because basically when the poor archer pulls
you're
it,
right.
See, I got it mixed up.
I also got this mixed up.
When
it's knocked into the bow,
it explodes like a 6 hit dice fireball.
Okay, this is actually really funny then. The archer gains no...
Careful what you think is funny.
I know. No saving throw against this effect, and the personal possessions he carries must save versus fireball at -4. The XP value is nothing, obviously. And the gold piece value is 500, created by Dan Snuffin. Dan's kind of evil.
He's got an evil bent to him. He really does.
See, we were under the impression that this was just you get a piece of artillery, basically.
Which they have in here.
Yeah. And you're just launching these explosives, but this is... Okay.
This is just one mean booby trap is what it is.
So bad. But again, if you are creative in the way you use it, it could be very interesting.
That's very true.
Because if you're trying to kill somebody, you're trying to kill Robin Hood, it's this great arrow that you found. You sell this arrow to him and it
package it up really nicely, give it some runes, some paintings, some whatever, maybe a sheet of gold on the end of the arrowhead, and somebody says, I'm going to see what this does, and boom! Yeah. So, yeah. But wow, 6 hit dice fireball.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Before. Well, the thing is, I got it the first time I read it, but then when I went back through here and circled things, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Anyway, interesting. I think a little bit vicious. Maybe a 2 hit dice fireball. Or,
I think 6. Because you're done with 6, unless you're really high level.
Well, the characters in my world.
The way we play, that's it. You're done.
Yeah. Okay, so just to go on with this, though, to carry on with the kind of artillery aspect of some of these arrows, which I don't really like. There's one that we were not going to. There's one we were not going to talk about called the arrow of fire. This arrow bursts into flame immediately after it is shot. An arrow of fire does normal arrow damage, plus 1 to 6 hit points of fire damage to any creature it hits. So there's I guess it's kind of like almost like a phosphorus arrow or something like that. Yeah. But I think that
napalm arrow.
Yeah, and I think that you can cross a line with arrows to where they become. I'm going to digress here for a second. I believe that arrows are underpowered in D&D.
Oh, very much so.
But I've always had a very difficult time coming up with a way to make them as powerful as they should be without unbalancing everything else in combat.
Yeah, because in AD&D, you get a D6 is the damage.
Yeah,
and that's ridiculous.
Yeah, because in the hands of a very skilled archer, arrows should be able to kill.
If you're shooting somebody with a longbow, it's like getting shot with a gun.
And I'm not blaming the folks who develop, TSR, when they developed this. There had to have been some mechanic, but it's just never sat well with me.
Yeah,
However,
yeah.
I think that you can go too far the other direction with an arrow, and you shouldn't be able to turn them into artillery pieces, where you have, you shoot an arrow and it essentially is a lightning bolt, which they have in here, or it is a fireball. I don't agree with arrows being too powerful, but at the same time, they're not powerful enough.
But I think that's where the price needs to come into effect, because
these are
really cheap. Because this arrow of fire is only 240 gold pieces. You can buy huge amounts of those if you're outfitting an army or something for 240 gold pieces apiece. If it's, again, kind of more in the thousands range, where this is something that's really special, that you're planning specifically to use this on that wooden Mott and Bailey that you're going to be attacking.
Right.
That's a different story.
And I think you're right. I think that at the end of the day, the economics have to play in this to balance out the damage that these can do.
To change the availability. I don't have an issue with the power itself. It's the accessibility
I see what
of the
you're
power
saying.
that's the problem.
I see what you're saying. Yep. Anyway, I digressed there yet again. But I'm going to talk about the Arrow of Force.
All right.
This one is by Alan Grimes. And the Arrow of Force. This arrow causes the creature struck to make a saving throw versus spell at -3. If the save is unsuccessful, the creature is encased in a force cage for 3 turns. It's a 7th level magic user spell. Due to its great degree of power, the Arrow of Force provides a -3 penalty on its 2-hit roll. No damage is done to the victim. I like this one.
I like that a lot. I like these arrows that don't necessarily do damage because they stick you, but there's something else that's going on. Again, if you're trying to capture somebody, this is a great thing to have.
And again, the gold piece value on this one is 480.
I don't know why that's so much higher than some of the other ones we've had.
Yeah, I mean,
granted, these are all created by different people. That's
true. That's a good point. But 3 turns is all you're looking at here. So although 3 turns is quite a bit. That's quite a bit longer than a round.
That's a long time. Yeah.
Anyway, interesting one. I do kind of like that.
Yeah, if you're trying to capture somebody, very fun. The Arrow of Holding. Sorry. This mystical arrow is inscribed with strange runes. When it hits its target, the target must make a saving throw versus spell or freeze as if affected by a hold spell. This effect lasts for 2 to 8 melee rounds. The victim takes no other damage. XP value 50, GP value 300. Created by our man, Dan Snuffin.
Now, I have things like this in the campaign.
Do you?
I do. There are tribes of wood elves that use these. Mm-hmm. But they're not actually magical.
Oh.
It's kind of like using poisonous frogs to make
that's cool.
blowgun darts.
Just paralyze you for a little bit.
And I use something very similar to that, which would be a lot cheaper than 300 gold pieces. But for the people who aren't wood elves in my campaign, I guess this would be an option. And this is a good thing. Yeah, you're right. This is a good thing for capturing people or whatever.
Yeah.
Skipping over a few more. Someone sitting at this table has an Arrow of Direction.
That I have used extensively until he put a limit on it. Because I think we were technically breaking the rules.
We were breaking the rules in a huge way.
Yeah. Accidentally. I didn't do it on purpose. But I hadn't read the description of it in a long time.
Which to me is actually breaking the rules on purpose by not reading the not knowing what they do. Anyway, this is the Arrow of, again, cursed, but they didn't say that. This is the Arrow of Misdirection. For those of you who are familiar with an Arrow of Direction, you can ask it a question and it will direct you.
Once a day,
not as often as you like.
Yeah, you can ask it where to go and it'll point you. You get it.
Anyway, this is the Arrow of Misdirection, and this arrow is similar to an Arrow of Direction, Dungeon Master's Guide, page 137. The difference is that this cursed arrow tells the wrong direction, like this.
Which is hilarious, because being the DM Like, which way to the Cavern of Souls or something, and it just points the wrong way, and then they just go off hiking.
That's right. Points you to a fishing village, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah, that could be very fun.
This one I like.
I do like this one.
I like this next one.
The Arrow of Multiplicity. For every 30 feet this arrow travels, another arrow appears in flight alongside the original arrow for a total of up to 10 arrows. Also, each arrow receives an individual to hit roll with no bonuses added to each roll. For example, a fighter fires one of these arrows from a bow, +3. The arrow travels a distance of 65 feet. 3 arrows will reach the target, all of them having normal 2-hit chances, counting none from the magical bow. XP value is 100, GP value is 600 by Alan Grimes again.
Like this one. This one a lot.
Because if you've got some money, you'll line up a bunch of longbowmen behind some line somewhere and give them 5 of these, and then you remember the scene in 300 where there's just a bunch of like arrows coming.
Fighting in the shade type thing.
Be very cool.
So, I like the 600 gold piece value on this. These are expensive.
That's a little pricier.
It is, but at the same time, if you were going to lay siege to something and you had X amount of money, it might behoove you. Behoove, good word.
Word of the day.
It might behoove you.
Word of the day, toilet paper.
You know, it might behoove you to hire skilled longbowmen, to hire less skilled longbowmen, and yet spend money on arrow of multiplicities for them, rather than hiring a bunch of skilled longbowmen that you have to feed and whatever else.
Point. Yeah.
I think that economically, this could benefit your siege.
It could. Also, we're talking a lot about gold piece values in this, and I feel like at some point we should make a video talking about how we use money.
I think that's important.
The value of what it all is.
I think that's important, yes.
To break it down, essentially, 1 gold piece is like a very, very nice meal. Yeah. Like a very nice meal. Somewhere.
It's actually more.
You would struggle to get food and pay a gold piece for what you're buying, unless you're going like you're high end, living it up.
Gold pieces they're pretty valuable, and they're relatively uncommon in my campaign. Most
of the cash that I have is in silver pieces.
But and some people may have gold as being a bigger part of their campaign, more readily available. Maybe their economy operates in a different way. So these might
more the value of the currency will change.
So I guess what we're saying is when we say that this is too expensive or not as expensive as it should be, all we can really say from a point of origin is our campaign and the value that we have on gold pieces. But it's harder to get hit.
And we might talk more about that at some point. Yeah. But to break it down very basically, gold pieces are worth a lot the way that we play. So,
okay, here is the one. This is actually, I believe, the one that I thought was the arrow of blow up in your face-ishness. This is the arrow of explosions. When knocked into a bow... No, I'm wrong. Forget what I just said. Because I have too many yellow lines drawn on this. Let's move on to the arrow of perseverance. Just forget everything I just said.
Yeah, let's just persevere.
You can't persevere on, can you? Anyway, the arrow of perseverance. Once shot, this arrow goes after... I like this one.
I do like this one.
This is a good one. Arrow of Perseverance. Again, this is our buddy Alan Grimes. Alan, if you're out there, get in touch with us.
Please do.
Once shot, the Arrow of Perseverance goes after its target regardless of range as long as the target is within view. The arrow, however, gains a cumulative -1 to hit for every 100 yards beyond its maximum range that it travels. Once the arrow gains a total of -10 penalty to hit, it vanishes. The arrow has a +2 bonus to damage. Experience points value for finding 150, gold piece value 300. I like this one, and again, I think since you've mentioned it, I'm starting to see a difference in gold piece value
depending on the person
who submitted these.
Yeah.
So the Arrow of Perseverance, I like it.
It gives me a very Looney Tunes kind of.
It does, zipping around, and it's something. It's a Wile E. Coyote thing, is really what it is. But I like that one too.
No, I think that's very good.
And excuse all of my yellow marks on this. See if you can get your way through them
Up
without
next,
me mocking you.
Up next,
No, don't do that.
We do have the arrow
He was
of
going to shut it off.
polymorphing. I would never. An arrow of polymorphing is as rare as an arrow of slaying, and is thus infrequently encountered.
Before we go any further with that, for those of you who do not listen to our podcast or watch our podcast,
What are you doing?
Yeah,
First of all,
this is free entertainment, guys.
Yeah.
But we mentioned in there, you mentioned the arrow of slaying, S-L-A-Y-I-N-G. In one of our podcasts, we talk about the arrow of slaying, S-L-E-I-N-G.
Oh, yeah, we did, didn't we?
H-I-N-G.
Yeah, like...
And I just... Yeah.
That's slang.
Good slaying sound. Some slaying music.
You know, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride.
I hear those sleigh bells ring
right?
out. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to mention I wanted to use this as a segue to get you to go and listen to our podcasts, because we talk about more quirky things.
Yes.
Like the arrow of slaying, which you get it, you have it, and it turns into a sleigh instead. Anyway, it's fun.
This arrow of slaying is different.
I'll stop talking.
Because we're talking about the arrow of polymorphing. Is as rare as an arrow of slaying and is thus infrequently encountered. This arrow is +3. It's a hit. Pardon. But not to damage. Besides taking normal damage from being hit, a creature struck by an arrow of polymorphing must save versus spells.
He needs to slow down, doesn't he? Yeah? Yeah.
If successful, nothing further occurs. If the creature fails to save, it is polymorphed into another form. Only one arrow of this type may be found at a time. I like that. That's good. There are 6 different kinds of arrows of polymorphing. When found, a random roll is required to determine the arrow type. Note that the only creatures affected by arrows of polymorphing are those that are susceptible to the spell Polymorph Other. Arrows of polymorphing are classified according to the form into which they change the recipient. The 6 different arrow types are as follows: stone, monster, ice, small animal, paper, and glass.
Paper.
To go through the different types. Stone. A creature hit by an arrow of this type becomes petrified as if struck by a cockatrice. The duration of the petrification is permanent, although spells such as Stone to Flesh or Limited Wish may be used to reverse the effects of this arrow. Monster. This arrow polymorphs the victim into a randomly determined monster. The DM may either devise a table of monsters of his own or employ the suggested monster types shown below.
And these are pretty incredible.
They are. If the victim's personality is lost, the monster attacks all nearby creatures until it is killed or until there is nothing left for it to fight. The effects last until dispelled. The suggested monster types are as follows: werewolf, Medusa, ogre, troll, owlbear, and 5-headed hydra.
So... who made this one again?
This is John M. Boback.
Mr. Boback, I think he runs a really deadly campaign.
Mr. Boback put some effort into this arrow as well.
Well, and for the monster that you get turned into, to be a werewolf, okay,
yeah,
you know.
Maintain personality.
Sure.
The same thing.
A Medusa?
Up in it a little bit, up in the ante.
An ogre? Okay, you know, I can see that. A troll? Okay. An owlbear, starting to get a little more powerful there. A 5-headed hydra.
Yeah, I love that. That's just number 6.
It's 1 in 6 chance of a 5-headed hydra, and I have to assume that you might lose your own personality and attack all your.
If I turned into a 5-headed hydra, I wouldn't be the same.
I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just think that Mr. Boback runs very vicious
torture.
Likes to really mix it up a bit.
Then we've got ice. This is perhaps the most deadly of the various types of arrows of polymorphing. A creature hit by one of these arrows is instantly transformed into a statue of solid ice. Unless the statue is kept at a temperature below freezing, it will melt away, completely destroying the polymorphed creature in the process. The ice statue lasts for as many rounds as the target creature has hit points. If the ice form is undone by a dispel magic spell against 12th level magic use, or by other magical means, the victim is restored to life if a system shock roll is made. Otherwise, the victim reappears, but is dead. For every round spent in the ice form, the victim loses 1 hit point from the effects of melting. Thus, a fighter restored to life after 12 rounds of being in ice form will have lost 12 hit points. Makes sense. I like that one.
I want to have that, and
oh no!
Yeah. Well, I want this to happen in a desert.
Oh God, guys!
We gotta move. You know, I just think
put him in the wagon.
Yeah, I think it could be good. Anyway, but that's the dark DM in me.
Yeah. Small animal. An arrow of this sort transforms the creature into a small, harmless animal, such as a mouse. This form lasts until dispelled. Love that.
Well,
because then you've got to carry him around.
But the thing is with this as well, if you're gonna be hit by one of these things and it's going to be ugly, do you want to be the mouse or the five-headed?
Oh yeah.
You know, Hydra. It's almost like an embarrassing thing to suddenly find yourself on the small animal level.
Yeah, you just turn into a squirrel.
You know, oh gosh, well maybe I'll get the chance to be turned into a Medusa. No, you're a squirrel.
No, you just have to run around and be hungry. Paper! This type of arrow reduces the individual it hits into a two-dimensional paper replica of itself. This paper doll is life-size and highly flammable. The duration of this effect is only 4 to 24 turns. After this time is expired, and if the paper has not been destroyed, the individual returns to normal. These paper dolls may be folded and carried without injury to the polymorph individual, unless the effect expires, which causes the individual to return to its normal size and shape. So you just get a cardboard cutout of yourself, basically. I think that's really funny. And then finally, glass. This final arrow type turns a creature it hits into solid glass. The effects of this arrow are permanent and may only be reversed with a stone to flesh or similar spell. A glass steel spell will preserve the victim from most harm until further aid can be rendered, but the spell must be removed before the victim is fully restored by other means. XP value is 225. Gold piece value is 1,350 by, again, John M. Boback.
I think Mr. Boback runs a campaign that...
A dangerous
campaign, but also I have to imagine he also has... maybe not necessarily dangerous, but it's a high-level campaign.
Yeah.
I think that there are probably, 20th level
powerful
magic users running around and things, because I don't know many people who have a glass steel spell readily available in a situation. Anyway, still, it's a good arrow. I like it.
I feel like we may have time for one more, because I've realized this video has gone on for about a half an hour at this point.
Wow. Which should we do then? We've got the Arrow of Pursuit, which we've kind of already talked about. There is the Arrow of Roping.
How about the Arrow of Screaming?
Well, there's the Arrow of Scent Detection. Don't really like that. Arrow of Sturge's Bite, which I kind of like. Arrow of Set was good.
Okay, let's do the Sturge's Bite. I did like that one quite a bit.
I think that's the last of them.
Yeah.
Okay, the Sturge's Bite. Arrow +5, Sturge's Bite. This is by Dan Snuffin again. This arrow has a steel shaft and is rather large in size. When the arrow hits, it drains 1 ounce of its target's blood, which is then stored in a hollow compartment in the shaft. The following round, the arrow detaches itself from its victim and may be recovered later by the archer. Due to the importance of blood as an ingredient in the fabrication of scroll inks and potions, this arrow is highly prized by magic users, clerics, and alchemists.
I like this one. This is very creative.
Yeah, and there are loads of things you could do. I like the idea of having your character be an archer who simply goes around and collects blood for magical use, and I think you could make a fortune. You could make a fortune doing that in my campaign.
Yeah, if you hunt down, some crazy powerful, I don't even.
Well, even a dragon.
Yeah, like a dragon or the owl bear or a five-headed hydra. If you go and you're brave enough to just kind of hunt it and then hit it with that once,
hit it, run away.
Yep.
Come back later, pick up the arrow. You've got dragon's blood to sell to somebody. You could be a very rich archer.
And that could be a very fun adventure. As well. You just get a bunch of those.
I think so. Experience point value 130, gold piece value 780.
I feel like it should actually cost less.
I think so.
That.
I'm thinking more around based on what we've already talked about. I'm thinking around 200.
Yeah, because there's not necessarily any magic involved in this one. Nope. This could just be mechanically done.
Yep.
So
that one's by Dan Snuffin. Yep. Anyway, just some cool arrows. I was reading the other day. I thought this is some neat stuff. I thought we would. I think it'd be a fun thing to share.
Would appreciate.
Right. If you have any questions about this, let us know. If you've developed any arrows of your own that you think are similar to this,
let's hear about them.
I want to know about them because I might be wanting to steal your idea and put it into my campaign. So, but yeah, anyway, any comments on these, let us know.
Absolutely. Check out the description below for Retro DM Ray's channel. Thank you again for sponsoring this video.
Yes.
As well as all of our social media accounts, Instagram. That's really it. And then our website and our coffee page, those will be available down below as well. Go check those out, see if you like them. Give us a follow if you can. That's it. Thank you for stopping by and listening to us talk about arrows.
Magic arrows, cool stuff.
Magic arrows, cool stuff. Incorporate them into your campaign and let us know how you do if you do. We will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex.
Keep your sword on free.
Bye-bye.